Thomas Hobbes once theorized that in the origin of the state, as regards how the state originated, that life is short, nasty, and brutish, where there are no laws, and patterned as the Hobbesian pattern of life. And looking at the need for us to have institutions, for us to have a government, and basically it is upon the government to roll out laws upon which the society can be governed. And being that as it is, it's expected that the citizenry obeys the laws of the land in that respect. My name is Philip Omo Gyukbo, and with this I say welcome to another beautiful ride on Law and You, where we take our time to elucidate concepts of the law that seem to be gray and bring out, ways in which we can help resolve situations or issues that may abound in that regard. We are looking at self-defense and what does the law has to say as regards self-defense. When one is being attacked, it's expected that there should be a process for which the victim, tries to protect himself. But to what extent can the victim use a reasonable violence or unreasonable, as the case may be? And what does the law say as regards self-defense? We will be discussing with a custodian of the law, and he is a constitutional lawyer, Notary Republic of Nigeria, former SSA to the governor of Edo State, strictly on legal matters. Adams Aliyu. It's always beautiful and awesome to have you join.
Very good. Thank you, moderator. Good day, audience.
All right, let's hit the road with what self-defense is. Looking at the laws of the land, the Nigeria provisions, constitution has been provided in the 1999 constitution as amended. What is self-defense, and how does the law address self-defense with regards to the criminal code or penal code of the law?
Yeah. The constitution remains the ground norm, the highest law authority in the land, which provides in section 1, chapter 1, that it is supreme and it has bounding effect on all the persons and authorities in Nigeria. So ipso facto, the fundamental rights, human rights, they are encapsulated in chapter 4 of the Constitution, right from section 33 up to 46, different freedoms. It is pursuant to that you have freedom of self-defense. If you are attacked, if you are in a perilous situation, you have right to defend yourself, especially reasonably. So, if your movement is hindered, you have right to defend yourself. If many of your freedom of assembly, if it is hindered, you have right to defend yourself. And when you are attacked, you clearly have right to reasonably defend yourself insofar as you don't take laws into your hands. So self-defense is guaranteed by the Constitution because your personal liberty encapsulated in section 35 will be violated if it is trespass on your preserve. So you have to defend yourself. And if you are moving, there's an obstacle on your way, you have to fundamentally defend yourself as per section 41.
Okay, well, if we look at it critically, starting from the mild responses that one may take in the process of defending himself or herself, as regards what you just said, take for instance the right to protest, and then someone or a group of persons are hindering, this act or this right belonging to the citizenry or citizens, as the case may be, to protect. What would such person or group of persons do as a way of defending themselves or defending that right to make protest?
Defense is protection, if you like, preventive. So if you are defending yourself, it has to be to ensure your liberty and safety. It will not progress to the level of your using a gun to kill someone because you are defending yourself.
In protest, for instance.
In protest. It is only in provocation. If somebody were to be provoked in the criminal code section 318, and you acted on the spur of the moment without mens rea, meaning that you did not plan it, it was not premeditated, it was spontaneous, it was an instantaneous provocation that made you to act maybe out of your senses. That's the only way you can take immeasurable steps in self-defense. Otherwise, to protect yourself, to ensure liberty, to ensure fair movements, you are allowed to a very reasonable effect, in as much as you did not plan to take the life of another person, or get the law into your hand, or do anything that is more than preventive. Self-defense talks of prevention. You can dodge, you can slide away, you can wrestle. If you are held, you can wrestle your hands out.
Okay.
Or in the defense form.
Okay, I like that aspect when you say you can wrestle if you are held.
Yes.
Because we started on a good note, on a very mild note as regards the citizens' rights, you know, to make protest.
Yes.
And the situation where we see, because situations have always abound where law enforcement agents tear gas protesters, for instance. And being that they are faced with law enforcement agents, and it's their right to protest as long as it's peaceful. And if they are engaged with such confrontation by the from the law enforcement agents, for instance, to what extent can such protesters defend themselves? Does it mean it can also go with fisticuffs? Or does it mean it can also go with engaging in a fight with a law enforcement agent? Does the law permit that?
The law enforcement agent is entitled to be armed as part of his moral and professional duties. You are a civilian. At times they call you bloody civilian. You have no license to carry weapons or any dangerous instruments. So if a law enforcement agent gives an order, especially if he's armed, the reasonable thing is to obey. And you can protest orally. You can protest reasonably, but not to risk your life in attempting to fight an armed person with a pistol or with a gun.
Okay, in the process of protesting orally, is that a way of self-defense?
Yes, you are resisting. The law enforcement officer who interprets that you are resisting arrest.
Exactly, that becomes another offense.
Yes, it becomes another resisting arrest. But you can protest while you are submitting yourself.
But again, if you look at it critically, are they supposed to arrest peaceful protesters in a situation where we have a peaceful protest?
Yes.
And then the law enforcement agents come around to prevent the group from protesting. Are they supposed to come in the way of the protesters?
Yeah. Constitution allows freedom of assembly.
Exactly.
People can gather. Freedom of association. They encapsulated in chapter 4 from section 33 to 46. And in doing so, if it now dovetails to disturbing people from going to work, children from going to school, market women from going to the market, you are trespassing on the preserves of the organization because you are protesting. Your protest has to be orderly. It can be arranged. You can even apply to security agents for protection. They will give you soldiers or police to guide you.
That's an act of self-defense?
Yes, you are right. As an act of self-defense, they will guide you and you'll be on one part of the street, not to block the street that there should be no movement.
And this again, if you look at the need for law enforcement agents to guide the protest, could also prevent charlatans or unscrupulous elements from hijacking the protest, and by so doing, preventing the protesters from being attacked, which is a form of self-defense.
It is equally good if the law enforcement guide. You have a case to make. You have written placard. You are gesticulating. You are singing for or against an event. So the reasonable thing is to do it peacefully, because where your rights ends, that is where the rights of another person begins. It is when you disturb that person's rights, you are now infringing on his preserves. And the law enforcement agents, they are bound to maintain peace. That's their modus vivendi and modus operandi, their way of life and way of operation. They must ensure security and welfare as per Section 2, Section 14, subsection 2. Security and welfare is the aim of government. Every government should ensure that citizens are secure. Section 14, sub 2. If a citizen is no more secure, the law enforcement agency will be told, and they don't know any other method of ensuring peace or sanctifying the society apart from using their weapons, which shall be officially given. And an individual who is not so armed, one man cannot fight, he does it all by himself or empty-handed. It is madness to challenge an armed person. You can protest orally, you can resist reasonably, resist the arrest, reasonably resist, trying to exonerate yourself from the grip of disturbance, but not to take laws into your hand, to wound, maim, or shoot at somebody, especially when something happens. You now go back to your house or anywhere, take a weapon. Then it means you have committed manslaughter, you have premeditated, you have decided on your own to commit havoc. But if you are provoked, an act of provocation, you act instantaneously. The court will look at that and think it is provocation. Provocation has to be instantaneous, unpremeditated, and circumstantial. Then, if you do anything, you can plead provocation. Thereafter, if it is premeditated, you now plan as a revenge to go and be armed, then you'll be liable for it.
There have been situations, let's go deeper now into what we experience in our daily lives, you know, as citizens. There could be situations where there is a misunderstanding between individuals, and then the attacker, you know, comes against the victim, armed against the victim that is not armed. What should be the response of the victim? Because he is with an attacker that's armed, and he himself is not armed. And you made mention of the fact that, you know, it's nonsensical, you know, from the way you suggested, that it's nonsensical for such a victim to go fisticuff with someone who is armed or engage with that person who is armed. But a situation where he is at risk of losing his or her life, so what should they do? And what does the law provide as per the weapons that such a person should hold as self-defense?
It's a 50-50 chance. If the armed person is licensed and authorized, you may not be wise to attack him as a part of your defense.
Okay.
Because he's authorized. But if an unknown gunman brings a gun with intention to take somebody's life, then you can take a 50-50 chance.
A 50-50 chance?
Yes.
But the victim is not armed. The victim is not armed.
I know.
Okay.
You can struggle with his own ambition with him, because he is not ordinarily expected to carry gun. So you can struggle with him as a part of your defense, because if not, he can use that gun or rifle to take your life. So if the life is at stake, you can take a 50-50 chance to fight it out with an unknown, an unlicensed gunman. But as I said, it's different from a licensed official security agent whose part of job is to maintain law and order with the help of the gun, which the government gave to him. So many of these unknown gunmen, kidnappers, they are armed, they are not licensed to carry gun. They could be attacked, especially if one's life is in jeopardy.
Oh, okay, because this is quite important for us to look at this squarely. Because yes, you painted a scenario of a licensed gunman, for instance. But
then
let's
it'll be a great risk.
let's leave that. Let's look at those who are not licensed. You know, we've seen cases of armed robbery, for instance. We've seen cases of just little quarrel that could lead into violent, engagements. So, and it depends on the weapons, anyways, that the attacker is holding. So, at what point can the victim, if he has the wherewithal to get a weapon to protect himself or herself, what do you term reasonable weapon
Now,
for such a victim to use against the attacker?
Once you are attacked, you will use what you have, your body, your fist. But when you now go somewhere to use a knife, get a cudgel, get cutlass, that is premeditation. It is not allowed. It means you have planned this to injure, wound, or kill somebody else. So that's not what we are looking at. We are thinking that ceteris paribus ought to be equal. You are on your way, harmless, open hand, equitably, and you are being attacked with somebody, an unlicensed gunman. Then you can defend. You can fight it out with him, 50-50 chance. But whereas you now go back somewhere to your store, to your house, to your vehicle, to get an instrument, that's a premeditation. It is not allowed. You want to inflict bodily harm on somebody, and you have planned this. That's why you went for the body. But if you already have it with you, you can use it. At the time the unlicensed gunman was attacking, you can use it. But to go and look for and come with it, that one is premeditation, and it will not be regarded as provocation.
So what you mean is that it should be spontaneous. It should be at the spot.
Yes, you are just
not you making a second thought, having a second thought, go to a place and then pick up weapons. That would be termed as premeditated.
Yes.
And the law frowns at that. Oh, okay. In case you're just watching, it's Law and You. We're going to look at all of these areas, most especially because we know as you view, basically you could be having some questions on your mind as regards this. So you pop up your questions via the numbers on the screen, and this program is brought to you courtesy of Noah Attorneys, a firm of legal practitioners based in Benin City, Nigeria. And the numbers are right on the screen for you to respond or react by sending short messages, of course, to the numbers on the screen. My name is Philip Omo Gyupo, and I've been having a very beautiful chat with the constitutional lawyer, Notary Public of Nigeria, former SSA to the governor of Edo State on legal matters, Adams Aliyu. Let's look at situations of armed robbery, for instance, because this year we're going to look at this premeditated and see what the law has against it, because a situation where you are being attacked in your residence and the suspects are armed robbers. What weapons? Armed robbers. It could be with guns, with anything, cutlasses, and you are in your apartment. What should be the response of such a victim or such an individual that is being attacked?
Armed robber that comes to you comes mala fide, bad face, mala, bad fide, face. So it came with intention to wound, maim, and kill.
Exactly.
And therefore, if you're at home, you can use anything in your house to defend yourself.
Or even if you go back, pick it from wherever it is, it's not seen as premeditated.
Because your
life is at risk.
Yes, it will not be regarded as premeditated because you are at home and somebody who came with bad mind, in bad face, to take your life. It is now 50-50 chance you are then allowed to use anything to defend yourself, especially if you are in your home base.
When you say use anything, that means even if you have the weapon.
If you have the weapon,
the gun, a gun, for instance,
yes,
any firearm.
Then because he has come to attack you and you are provoked, and if so facto along the line, you use that weapon to defend yourself.
So we are going somewhere. So it means citizens are supposed to, they can be licensed to hold guns, at homes, for instance,
Yeah, if you
in
apply-
such situations?
If you apply and you have a licensed gun, you are free to use it in such situation, but not when you go out illegally to buy a gun and hide.
What guns are licensed
Guns are licensed, go to the police.
for citizens,
For
civilians?
And civilian. If you buy a gun that is for protection,
Does it include a short pistol?
it's up.
A short pistol.
No, because the police knows the category of gun to give to license for civilian for self-protection.
Okay.
Which you can use. They know. So
Pistols
don't-
probably may
don't
not be
buy
part of it.
secretly, yeah. You have to show it to the police. They will certify it, record it with your name and the rest. Then you can use it for self-defense. It's quite allowed.
Okay. In the process where in such situation or scenario, the armed robber got killed in the process of you having self-defense, does the law frown at it?
Yes.
Does the law frown at it?
The law will exonerate you because you were defending yourself. The armed robber that came malafide, came with the intention to kill.
But the armed robber is treated as a suspect, for instance, but
No, if they have come to you-
unfortunately dies in the process.
Yes.
So how do you establish that the attacker came with the intention to rob? How do you establish
The
that
locus
for you
inco-
to be exonerated from the long arm of the law?
locus inco, that is the venue of the event, is that the Araba came to you armed.
Yeah.
That is prima facie case that he meant bad. It did not mean any good for you. So if an armed robber came to you armed in your house and you have a licensed gun, you have to use it to defend yourself. You'll be exonerated. You are now defending yourself because he was already armed and he came to you and your life was less than 50-50 situation. So if you now gained the upper hand, then you acted spontaneously, you were provoked, you were at home, innocently, and there have been many cases.
Okay, what's the process? What's the process that the victim should apply in order to exonerate himself from this act in the course of self-defense, killing the attacker in the process? What are the processes?
The process, by the time the armed robber points gun at you and say your life or such and such, then you either comply or you equally use your licensed gun if you are to right to equally reply to safeguard yourself.
Must there be a gun pointed at someone before such a person can take such a life?
Yes, if it's not
because a situation where you already see them in your compound, for instance, they are armed, and they are armed robbers. The law says that one is presumed innocent until proven guilty.
Yes.
For such persons who are seen as suspects, how does the law frown at it? Because at the point of entry,
into your
compound, you, the victim,
Yeah.
only see them as armed robbers or see the individual as an armed robber.
Okay.
How do you establish the case? That's what I'm saying. Because it's presumed
When
that
they are unwanted
anyone who
visitors-
is seen or who is taken as a criminal is only a suspect until proven by the court.
That's
So
what
what are the legal processes?
The legal process is that by the time an unknown gunman leaves his beat or whatever he is and comes to a victim, a probable victim, it's already prima facie liable.
Or the property,
Or
comes upon the property.
Come to the compound.
like in the compound, for instance.
Yes, you come ahead.
So the victim is right to take life
to defend himself.
from whatever
You may
point
not take
from whatever point he sees the
yes,
suspect,
he can injure the gunman,
or not necessarily kill.
not necessarily. He can shoot to the air just to know that he is equally vigilant and vivacious and alive. So that's how it is.
So you're saying that if he has a clean shot, he shouldn't kill,
Yes, he should not.
knowing full well that they are armed robbers, or such a person is an armed robber.
And you equally shoot it to
You
the
mean
air.
you mean the law frowns against that?
No, you are to equally intimidate your attacker for him to know that your life is at stake. you can injure him. So, because he's coming in bad faith, and his prima facie at first sight regarded as guilty. He came with a bad mind, and he may kill. If he went two of you are skillful, it is the victorious one with the upper hand that is victorious. So, by the time you have been attacked in your house, you can use anything to defend yourself. It is permitted as defense because you were at home. This is quite different from if you were not at home, you were in the streets and somebody blocks your way, and attempts to shoot at you. Then you did not retaliate. You now went back home, went to your car to bring out a gun. That is premeditation. You are planning menstrual. But in your house, somebody coming, shooting, breaking your door does not mean well. You have to use anything to defend yourself, and you can plead that you acted in self-defense.
Thank you so much, Adam Saliu, and we hope that you join us at same time, whenever we have you an opportunity to have you on set with us, and I hope you oblige us.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. It is what it is. We do this same time next week. I am Philip Omo Gyupo. Goodbye.